everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of MSP Business School. My name is Brian Doyle, and as always, I'm joined with my charming co-hosts, Tim McNeil and Rob Rogers. How are you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic.
Fantastic.
How are you doing, sir?
I got no complaints, man. You know, it's another sunny day.
Yeah,
here
nobody
in
would
CT.
listen. Yeah.
Exactly.
That doesn't really matter. It's fine.
But nobody cares about what we got to say anyway. Let's jump into what the real reason we're here today. I want to welcome Sean Lardo today. He's our guest, and he's with OITVOIP. And, we're excited to have him on because many of you of our listeners have probably seen Sean out in some of the social channels and certainly know of OITVOIP. And if nothing else, you've been on the subreddit more than likely. We were just having a conversation about that. We don't even have to say what it is anymore. But in case you care, r/MSP. But, Sean, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, Brian. Thanks for having me. Rob, Tim, good seeing you again. Looking forward to seeing you again. Looking forward to seeing you again next week in Cincinnati at Aspen.
That's right.
Yep.
We'll do it all over again.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys could do this from, a remote live stream, right? I'll sit here in my little
You don't
box.
want that live stream. You don't want that live stream.
Do it from the bar, my friend. But
That's
anyhow, Sean, we thank you for joining us today. And what we really want to understand, of course, is a little bit more about, OIT and what you're providing and kind of your backstory is how you guys became who you are today. I know I've got a few questions, and I'm sure Tim and Rob do too, just about the state of the industry, right? I think we've seen a pretty big shift in telecommunications.
Absolutely.
And once upon a time, the MSPs couldn't stay far enough away from it. And now it's pretty much just expected that they're going to have it. So I'd love to get your take from, a vendor point of view, people that works with the partners and really understand what you're seeing as well. But why don't you kick us off and tell us a little bit about who you are, how you came to be, and what you guys are doing at OIT.
Sure. So again, Sean Lardo, I'm the Vice President of Partner Development here. And the origins are actually very interesting because, and this will sound like a story that you've all heard and talked yourself about many times. Many moons ago, OIT was a break fix company and did a bunch of stuff. And actually, even before that, did consulting for software consulting projects or whatever it may be, and transitioned to break fix, transitioned into managed services. All sounds familiar, right? I mean, we hear the story many times from a lot of MSPs. Around 2003-ish, actually in 2003, we started to partner with telcos and add to our stack and to resell services for phones. Spent a good decade reselling a bunch of different providers, again, increasing the stack size and making sure we're becoming a holistic approach to the end users. In 2013, we went from Orsini IT, which was the MSP, and we created the new brand of OIT. And with a heavy focus from that point to now on partners or voice over IP rather. As of today, 98% of all of our revenue comes from our partners, and we offer a channel and a white label program. It's a partner at your own pace almost kind of, way of doing business. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and what we did was when we decided to do this, to become a vendor, because, being an MSP and reselling, the one thing that you learn right away is you have to have good relationships with your vendors if you're going to provide their product or their solution or whatever it may be. You have, and a good relationship isn't just like, hey, I saw you at a conference and we had some drinks and got drunk and you're a great guy. That's great for that day. Right, Rob? Good. So with that said.
What does that mean? There's no story there. There's no story there.
No. With that said, though, it's more about what you do as it's a real partnership. You have to, even for me speaking, my partners rely heavily on information and input I give them. And we try to bring them up to speed to where, to be the expert to a degree that they need to be and make things as seamless as possible to do business. Because again, being a vendor, we all know this, we make up a very small fraction of their day-to-day work and also a small fraction of their revenue. So we have to make it as easy as it can to work with us. It has to be a very symbiotic relationship. So yeah, so we got into it and we wanted to do things better than what we had experienced. We felt we could do better. We felt we could probably provide a better resource and a better product for the MSPs. And it was part of our brethren. So it was pretty easy to relate to them. And we work with thousands of MSPs on a regular basis, so that's it.
So, what I'd like to hear a little bit about was that transition step you guys took. So, you've got this MSP. How'd you phase yourself out of it and make that conversion? Because I'm sure you had some customers that didn't want to see you go, right?
Right. Well, and to be fair, we still have a couple of legacy customers sitting there that just won't go. Right. And in fairness to them and good business, we maintain them, because it's smart business and it's the right thing to do. It was a slow transition over time. Companies being acquired kind of helps you because then they go where they go. And we just set a deadline. At some point we knew that we wanted to move out of it. Plus it wasn't advantageous for us to do it because it makes us look like we're going to compete with our partners. And that's not where
you're spot on. That was going to be my next question. How did you kind of bridge that relationship?
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. We cut it off. We do all, like I said, 90% of revenue is through all of our partners. That 2% that I'm referring to is the people that are MSP people that say, here, we need some phone service. And obviously, again, we're working with them. We're not going to pull away from them. So no, and this is across the board for us. We actually, in our agreement, it protects their information. It's part of our agreement. There's nothing being shared anywhere. It's never going to be. There's liabilities involved. We made sure, because it's difficult. You guys, as MSPs, worked their butts off to get this going. It's unfair if we take your leads all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a horrible situation. So so we covered it all and we're done with all that.
It feels more complicated to be in that channel direct model than it is to either just be all direct or all channel.
Yep. No, I would totally agree. We don't have a direct sales team at all. Every one of our teammates, every one of our employees is dedicated to partner and then customer success.
Beautiful.
That's it. It's easy and it's easier to manage. I don't have to hire a full sales team.
Yeah.
My MSPs are my sales team.
Yeah. Yeah. They do it for you.
That's why the channel's great, right?
Yes, it's fantastic.
And it works just like everything else, right? The top 20% will give you 80% of what you need, and you put your most care there, right?
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. You're absolutely right. You always have the 80-20 rule, and you can apply it to every. It gets applied to everything. We know that, right? So, but you're right, and it's not even 20%. Sometimes you see it's 5 or 6% that really provide the revenue, and then there's like another trickling in of the usual suspects that bring in a deal here and there. Is that your other 15-14%, right? And then the rest, that middle round between 21 and 55-60%, they bring you something once a year, and great, thanks for coming along. But that's, but you got to focus on it. And I would say for our program, we actually have a lot more heavy producers across the board. It is pretty evenly distributed. We average about 45% of our partners that are engaged in making and actually closing deals.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, we do a lot for our partners. We invested heavily on the partner program itself. We already had the infrastructure built to ensure they didn't have issues, but we invested on sales and marketing enablement for them. We launched our Partner Central platform last year that gives them everything they need, from marketing content to sales content to they can actually do their quote request forms out of there, where our team supports it and creates their quote for them. Over to our VoIP University. And in VoIP University, we have over 7,000 documents that we've not branded on purpose. That way they can export and put into their own knowledge base and share with our customers. Everything we can think of to keep them from having to focus on us and focus, be client facing instead and get to their work. Everything was built for that. And since that, and again, our team is all comprised of throughout all North America. Our whole company is in North America, mostly US. Offices in Miami and Pittsburgh. We're over in Nevada, North Carolina. So we're all around the country here, but they're all core. The key focus for all of them is to be helping these partners with expediting business and providing quality service. And that's it.
So Sean, you were saying you have all those documents, not branded, and you kind of said something that you with the proposal, like your team will help with the proposal. Is that what you were saying?
Absolutely. So for our channel partners, they're coming to us anyway, right? Well, no, let me, there's two parts. We have channel and white label, as I said. So even for our white label partners, they have access to our templated documents to use for their own sake, for contracts and proposals. We already have it in there for them. All they got to do is repurpose it. It's there for them. Even our team, white label partners come to us on a regular basis and say, hey, would you help me present? I'm sort of unsure about this. We get on calls with them and help them present. We'll we act as one of their own. We become like their sales engineer, basically, you know,
I was going to say that you essentially are, you exactly are.
Yep. We don't show up as OITVOIP. We show up as Jim Smith's MSP or whoever it is. And we go in on the call with them. We act as a sales engineer. We even help them with it. We put together collateral, like we put together a PowerPoint presentation deck that we use to our channel partners, and we give it to them. We repurpose it as a direct deck. We also left it as a brandable deck that they can export and they can brand on their own. And we teach them how to replace things, because this is a dig on MSPs, but they are not the best salespeople. They think they are. They got 100% closing rate of all their leads, which is 100% referral based, and they're good at that. They're good as being an MSP, and I know thousands of them, and I know. But you know, one of the big problems that I think that we've all seen is they have a hard time articulating what they're here to talk about. They have a hard time presenting it. They know they're good. They're spot on. Like if they're in a room, bunch of people that know they're there to talk about specific things, they can do a Q&A session easily. You know, because they're experts. Yeah. It comes down to a presentation. You know, sometimes you're not at the stage. You got to active listening first, discovery, and present. So we put these things together for them. Now on the channel partner side, when they have an opportunity they're working on, they can go right into Partner Central. They can go right into the quote request form, fill out the quote request. Our team gets that, and it forces them to fill out the necessary information so they can't skip. So we don't miss a beat on that stuff. Right. We create the quote for them. We send it to them for their approval. Yep, good to go. And we send it off to the customer. Now we get as much or as little as involved as they want us to be when it comes to the actual shepherding along the deal.
Awesome. And you know, that's what they need too, right? One of the biggest things I think as the MSPs are transitioning today into kind of this new world format of more serverless offices, cloud-based technologies, really remote workforces, all those kind of things. You can't staff the same way you used to. You can't have necessarily that subject matter expert in every discipline you have. You need a little bit more jack of all trades. In some cases, you need almost more project management coordination than you do actual execution. So, absolutely, you know, that's a critical service. I know a lot of partners have expressed to me that they're looking for from their vendors is, how can you support me when I'm doing this, you know, doing the sale or doing the delivery or doing whatever it is that I might not have the full expertise for. And that seems to be what's separating the good vendors from the bad these days as well.
I would totally agree. I think the two most common things that struggle with the friction with vendor and partners is not being able to get them to market fast enough and seamless enough, and then also being able to post support them with the resources that they don't need. Because again, if you look at an MSP today, if you look at like what CompTIA released for their report last year, there's a list of like 25 things that an MSP should have or represent or carry part of their stack to be a holistic MSP. Yeah. Okay. So there's 3 of you that work in your office as the MSP. Are you really going to,
how are you going to do that?
You're not. Yeah. And how are you going to talk to it? And how are you going to teach your sales rep how to say this too? Because you don't even know what you're talking about either. So
let's just put on some of the incredible expectations that some of the large scale vendors had on us, right? You know, I remember there was a point in time early in the VoIP cycle where we were looking at becoming Cisco certified. Well, not even Cisco certified. We wanted to go Cisco Gold because we had some enterprise relationships.
Right.
It was $1.6 million worth of payroll to be Cisco Gold because you couldn't have guys that held 2 certifications across certs. So you sit there and say to yourself, so for me just to pay for my resources, I have to sell 5 million. Maybe.
Just to pay for that. Yes.
Just to break even. I don't make $1 until sale $5 million and $1, right? It's obscene. And, you know, that's where today's modern vendor, I think, really looks and says, how can we be a better partner and provide those resources to the customers, make their lives easier and get them out of the gate faster? And if we do that, they're stickier with us, right?
Well, yeah, you know, everybody, you've been around long enough, you see like at the conferences and they're having parties, right? And everybody's excited to say, oh, I'm going to sign up as a partner. And they're like, yay, we have drinks to a shot, we're celebrating. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you get back and nothing, right? The excitement's gone. It's just whatever, right? It's important. Onboarding a partner is the most important piece of everything that you can do. You just spent all this time and effort to get them to take notice of you and to agree to work with you to some degree. So getting them onboarded is so critical because in order for you to have a loyal relationship, you got to help them make $1 in an easy way. So we focused on that. It was one of the key components of the success of our program, you know, is the velocity of getting them up, running, and get their first deal. For our channel partners, from the moment I meet you and you say we're interested in discussing this, to the moment we agree, which we can agree within that call typically, or that meeting, that if we're a good fit, because we're very thorough about determining whether we're a good match or not. We can take you from that clear through to getting your quote request done, submitted, quote sent to customer, even to closing the deal if they're ready to go, depending on it, within a matter of 48 to 72 hours. You know, I mean, we focus on heavily on the white label side. We're able to, and for the white label, we do everything for setup for them. We set up their portals, we set up their, if you know, a lot of, and VoIP, MSPs are very scared to sell white label VoIP because of taxes and compliance and filing. I totally agree. I get it. It is scary as all hell because it's not like normal stuff. It's not your typical sales tax or service tax you apply as an MSP. It's whatever rules your local municipality made up on leap year that year. I get it. Like, I know. So what we did was we partnered up with third-party billing platforms, you know, that we will set up for you that will automate this for you. We also partnered up with compliance and filing agencies that will do this also. We do all the hand holding and getting you set up. It's a business in a box. And we're able to do your full setup and onboard and launch within the first 30 days of you signing. You can be in production within 2 to 3 weeks if you really were proactive about it. You know, so we focus heavily on it.
So, when that occurs like that, is there some litmus test for you as well? So, it's all great that you're doing all this effort. How do you make sure you're holding the MSP accountable on that side? And what are some of the things an MSP can expect to provide in order to make that a smooth transition if they come on board with you?
Absolutely. Good question. So, as a channel partner, it's much looser because there's no major investment, right? But that's why we push for the expediting to help them close a deal, so they can see how we work and know that we're investing in them. Okay. The thing is, we can't expect the partner to do 20 times more than we do for them. So we ensured that we provided resources everywhere. We basically put ourselves on a table and said, here you go, guys, look, this is everything. We create our YouTube channel where we have resources there. We did all these things, right, to show our investments. But to hold them accountable, it is a partnership. You know, I'm talking to you today and you say I treat it like a sale. If I'm a sales manager or I'm selling to you, I ask, what do you have going on? You tell me, I need to have this done. And I need to have, when do you need it by? This date. Okay, let's schedule meetings so I can teach you and ramp you up and we can close this deal together. Now that happens, great. We close a deal. You got to see how it's done. If I can show you how to do it easily, chances are you're going to come back around and do it again, right? But then we also have our monthly and quarterly meetings with these guys. We are friends with them. You know, we are in it for the best interest, selfishly motivated. You know, obviously we're here to make money. We know that. We're all in business. Yeah. Same reason why the MSP is in business. We know that. Yep. But it doesn't have to be a gringy thing. It's a friendship. It's a partnership. We're here together. And as long as they know they have access to us and they know we're going to work 150%, I have no problem saying to you, I just worked my ass off, Brian. You owe me some time as well. And if you don't want to give me that time, then I'm firing you. Yeah. I don't need you as a partner. That
was the question I had. You know, is there a litmus test for you? Because, you know, one of the things I think we see in the vendor community is we can spend a lot of time onboarding. We can spend a lot of time helping our customers and then, you know, see that there's not payoff on the other side of the rainbow, right? So how do we put a little skin in the game without making it, you know, a whole lot of sales friction, as you've mentioned?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. You're right. And on the white label side, they're investing. So
yeah, that's just different play, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah, because you're spending money. Anytime, as soon as you spend your first $50, you've committed. Even if it's only $50, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you've gone over that hurdle, that mental hurdle. You know,
exactly.
Usually if you're going down that path too, you're making it a key initiative inside your business too. Otherwise, you would just partner up and take the smaller commission.
Absolutely. It's a gym membership.
Good way to put it. Good way to put it. Mm-hmm. You know, we talked a little bit before we got started, but let's talk a little bit about the state of the industry overall, right? And yes. You know, one of the things that I've seen, I've got you know, we've all been around the industry a long time, and we've seen a lot of different partners out there. And you know, there was a point in time as an MSP, I buddied up with the telecommunication guys. We were huge resources to one another, you know, and we could pass each other a lot of business. You know, 10 years ago, as VoIP started maturing, you started seeing more and more MSPs bring it inside. What do you think? You know, when you look at your partner base, how many of your partners are really true pure play telecom versus the MSP hybrid, if you will?
Yeah, it is slim to none at this point. It is not like back in the day when you would go to the channel partner conference, channel partner expo conference, and you would see a slew of I'm trying not to cuss.
We're free with that. It's all
a shit ton of agents, that are only doing this stuff, or the pure play. It still exists. There are still some big providers, but what we're seeing a little bit more of now, though, is those guys that are pure play providers are becoming like the middle between us and the partners in some cases, where they're creating almost their own partner program, where they're the distributor more or less. So you are seeing that, and it's fine. It's healthy for us when it happens, but it's becoming expected. And I'm going to use COVID, and everybody's tired of talking about COVID, I know. But the new norm is I hate that term anymore. But the reality is the new norm from COVID has really guided this to where MSPs are the trusted voice of their clients on everything related to technology that's going to keep their business running more than ever. That's a fact. Okay. Because
100%.
Joe, you were a baker, you had a bakery, and all of a sudden you're like, how do I get orders for weddings when I can't even be at the office, right? I can't go in to do anything because COVID shut my store down for the day, but I got to transition my work. How do I transition it to be no people coming in right now to place in orders and I can leave it outside or whatever it is I'm going to do? Obviously that's a plug for VoIP, I'm saying, because they have to call them. But the reality is they're going to go to the MSP. They're going to go to their IT person that's going to say, hey, what do we do? And their job is to say, here's how we're going to protect yourself cybersecurity wise. This is how we're going to set up your home workstation. This is how we're going to get you communications rolling. This is how you're not going to miss a beat. And that's what they're supposed to be doing. And with that said, though, that leaves a lot of responsibility to the MSPs. To have back to what we were talking about before. They're not going to be the subject matter expert on everything, but they got to work with companies like me. They got to work with cybersecurity companies. They got to work with hardware, cell phone or hardware computer companies like Dell and Hewlett Packard, whoever. And they got to start learning what they're talking about and start getting favorable rates too to help their customers and still profit, right? And they got to learn enough and have a process that's seamless enough to set up and keep them rolling. So I don't see this changing. I don't know. I've been reading reports where, they're talking 75% of the workforce will work a hybrid role forever now, basically, So with that said, how do you manage that? And if you're in any of the MSP forums, you see them always talking about how do I provide security for, multiple devices in multiple places and blah, blah. And they're all and they're scampering to figure this out, but they all know the answer and they should be telling. And then the next question always comes down to is, how do we determine pricing now? I usually do by device. Why would you do that? That doesn't make sense right now.
Never made sense.
Go to you do by user and make it simple, and then just upsell and cross sell from there, what you need to do based off of the needs. So we see this happening, and we see VoIP being a major player because since COVID started, our partners have had a significant increase in VoIP sales simply because on-prem solutions. People can't even go to the office to answer phone calls. Well, they can now, but they weren't then.
They were absolute dinosaurs. They couldn't make that transition.
No, they couldn't. Not in a timely fashion, and not due to the alarms that you saw with COVID. People were scared, genuinely scared. One of our partners works with a law firm. They have about 80 or 90 attorneys, and they estimated the first month of COVID, they lost 60% of their annual revenue right there. Because there was nobody to go in the office to take phone calls, to transfer phone calls or anything. Their attorneys started creating Google Voice accounts to at least call their clients, which turned into an admin nightmare because they couldn't track the minutes to charge them.
It's all about that. I mean, you look at it.
It's a bad day.
It's a bad day, guys. But you know what that did? That just gave us, and VoIP was a dirty word 15 years ago, right? Because of internet issues and whatever else. It's not anymore. Those days are long gone.
It's the standard now.
It absolutely is.
Candidly, it also goes hand in hand with there's so many other communication mediums. The traffic required on VoIP, while critical, isn't as voluminous as it once was either, right?
No,
so
not at all.
You got those industries like legal and law firms, and these are folks that need to get those inbound calls to initiate the process, right? But you look at the average rank and file, my running joke about COVID is, I don't even know half the people I interact with phone numbers because everything happens on a medium like this, Zoom or Teams, right? And it's just, when it's time to get together, it's like your link or mine, right? That's really what it comes down to.
That's exactly, yeah, because we all have our own invite.
Yeah.
What are you using? And that's another big thing is I've been in sales for a long time, and I've been traveling a long time. So I've worked from everywhere for a long time. So this new dynamic of working and taking phone calls from anywhere and everywhere is nothing new to me. I mean, I even have my little Plantronic earbud right here that I take with me. That's my travel one. So it's noise canceling, and I can go anywhere I need to with it, no problem. And I have a soft phone, no problem. I can make calls from anywhere, right from my laptop, or my mobile app, or whatever. So I'm used to it. But this work from anywhere, everywhere, whenever is, again, this is the new reality we're in.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we're in sales, so we've always had that reality.
Yeah.
It's always been a harsh reality for us. But
the thing is, it's never going to go back either, right? It's only going to progress forward. Like there's no going back.
No, of course not. Why would you? If you're a major business, I mean, if you're a major business and you had a huge office, you spent a ton of money on that office with all these employees in there, and you had to pay for the upkeep, and you had to pay for everything to happen, for parking passes or whatever, take your pick, and you can get rid of all that and send them home and just give them a stipend. Why wouldn't you? No. You take that cost. I mean, I know I saw what FedEx used to spend for here in Pittsburgh in that office. Oh my Lord, the amount of money they spent there, humongous. They were happy to close that place. They're like, we're good. Go home and work, please.
When we set up our company, we went in consciously saying we were going to be a distributed company. This was pre-COVID, because we really looked at it and said, the talent we're looking for, not cheapest here in the Northeast where we are. The things that we need to do, it doesn't matter. And our customers sit on all 5 English-speaking continents, right? So It made zero sense to to say we're going to limit ourselves to this box. And you're seeing that a lot of businesses looking at what they do and seeing, unless I need to be local, there's really not a reason to do this.
No. Yeah. I mean, if you're not a local provider and it's irrelevant, if you don't be face to face with somebody, you don't need it. I mean, for us, I mean, we're a prime example. We have an office in Miami. That's where our corporate office is. And up until 2019, we didn't have anybody that worked out of the office. So that was, and then once COVID took place, we were 100% remote.
Yeah.
We just started bringing people back to the office, and it wasn't required that everybody had to come to the office, because some people are perfectly fine working from home, and we're good with that. I mean, again, as long as you have checks and balances and you're doing your due diligence, we're good.
Well, as you scale, there could be some critical roles that do require to be there, but the truth is the normal rank and file really don't.
No, you're right. And it also increases my pool that I can look at for when I hire.
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, seriously, it's incredible what you find. I go on LinkedIn. We put a job posting out for tech guys. We hired 3 new tech people this past week. We had 190 applicants.
Wow.
The problem is with some of what's out there, you need 190 applicants to find 3.
I know.
That's the other reality going on, right?
I agree. It's like a full-time job.
It's funny the tug of war with people, with business owners, like trying to get back into the office. Rob and I were just on a call before where there were a few owners that they were adamant. They office the whole way. Now MSPs, right? But it was just interesting to sit back and see the dynamic of, there were maybe 10 or 12 MSPs on. It was pretty even between, nope, we're going back to the office, we're gonna have a hybrid, or
I'm not surprised.
This work from home ain't that bad.
Some people they have to be able to feel and touch the people they work with to know that they're there.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Some business owners, they have to be in the office with their employees. They have to be able to see it, because that's how they manage best.
Yeah.
And that's just it.
And that was kind of their point, that they felt like they managed best if they were able to actually overhear and see the people, not in a micromanaging way, but just that's their personality. That's what works for them.
You see them, they know they're there.
There's something to be said about leaning back and leaning over to the person next to you and saying, "Hey, do you remember this little thing right here?" Versus just having to stop, give them a call, and doing all that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting discussion that's going on right now.
Absolutely, I would agree. The hardest transition for a lot of people is figuring out how to do internal conversation, not being internal in the building.
Right.
It is the hardest thing, and that's why Teams and Skype and all these things have become so good and so impactful.
So fast.
Yeah, like seriously, and we do everything. We're, because because we're an MSP. We had Office 365, so we have Teams. We did our Teams integration with our VoIP. Even we bought in with it to make sure we could do everything around it, because I mean, Teams is the fastest growing sold product from Microsoft like ever. And it's not going away. This is not going to go away. No. And we are on Teams all day, every day internally. And then all of our meetings are Teams meetings, which is good. And it's so simple and integrates with Outlook and everything else. So it makes it easy to send invites. Yeah. It is good. It's just, but again, back to that internal conversation, you lose it. And so you got to keep a structure and how to keep everything engaged, you know?
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. So I think we're nearing the end of our time here. Are we not, guys?
Yep. Yeah.
We can go all day. Right?
We could. But the beauty is we can have you back too. You know. We're always doing these. So, you know, with that said, I don't know if Sean, if you've got any closing thoughts that you want to share with your customers before Rob takes us home.
Sure.
Customers with the community. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. No, absolutely. I would say this. You know, when you're, I stand by this, and I've been saying this for years. As an MSP, you guys are in a great position when you're MSPs to make a big impact and to have a very, very successful business. You know, work with and understand, build your processes internally, and then work with vendors second. Understand what you guys are doing with your own self, your own offering, and then work with people like us after that. You know, have a process, have a practice, have a procedure. Don't ever settle for less, because once you do it and you standardize, it makes things easy. Scalability, you're looking to scale. And I know, and it's funny because every single conference we go to, they have the merger and acquisition panels all the time. And I see a bunch of MSPs in there. Well, I get it. You want to be acquired, but how are you going to get there? You're going to get there if you produce enough revenue. How do you produce enough revenue? You create processes, and you hire the right talent, and you know what the hell you're plugging people in for.
Doing it.
Yes. Ridiculously profitable if you do it right.
That's right.
Honestly, just do it and be accountable to it. That's it.
Wow, Sean, you know, thank you very much for today. This was very interesting. This was a good one.
Yeah, well,
thanks.
Yeah. Like when Rob gets excited, you know, it was a good one today. Sometimes I feel bad about some of the other ones we do.
Yes, I've seen Rob excited.
And a little inebriated.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Hey, for anyone who's looking to get in touch with Sean, we will be including his LinkedIn profile with the podcast. Also, this episode will be up on mspbusinessschool.com and anywhere you get your podcast. Also, you can go to oit.co/partners if you want to find out any more information. As always, thank you very much, guys, and I appreciate it. Good talk today.
Thanks for joining us, Sean.
See you next week, Sean.
Thank you, guys. This is awesome.